I am honored to be able to introduce our guests, and I'll tell something more about him in a bit. Just first, do some housekeeping. In that sense, of Friday, we have the Daisy Zoom. Like, let's say I'm trying to always be on that Zoom, and last time I was having dinner with two prospects. And I said, sorry, I have to go to my car. I have to jump in a Zoom. And they just wanted to jump in the Zoom with me. So I was sitting in my car listening to Daisy doing her 20 minutes thing, and they just loved it. So I would just inspire everybody to just do whenever, spur of the moment, just jump in the Zoom. It's amazing to see Daisy do her thing. And like I said, they loved it. But anyhow, that's the housekeeping. Who is so loving NAD? Woohoo! So NAD, I had to get used to it because I'm awake every time when I have to be awake. And so I cut my NAD down, but I am so loving the clarity I have because of the NAD. I have to say, Axio was my thing. I was always on Axio, especially being in the airline business for 31 years. I was on Axio. I have not had Axio for a whole week. That is unheard of for my side, because I was on Axio 2 times a day. So NAD, that's really, and what I do notice as well is that my body reacts so fast to when, for example, I eat something that is not agreeing with me. Totally. And then it's like, I think in a couple of hours, I feel better. So for me, nothing else is different than the NAD. Okay, I'll introduce myself first. For the people who don't know me, my name is Polly Grace Fonse. I live in Amsterdam, the Netherlands. I am in Scotland at this moment. I have been working in the airline business for 31 years, and Jennifer and I were like saying, we need to get me out of this business. I love doing this business, by the way, but it's so unhealthy with all the radiation. So I don't have to tell and start that story. But anyhow, we have to get me out of this business. Also, during this whole time of being a flight attendant, I trained myself in a vitality coach, stress counseling, and organic food naturalist advisor, and also did some training in Thai massage, Thai medical massage, chair massage, and I'm starting a new massage training on Friday. And it's about the same thing I think Michael Epstein is doing. It's going to be a holistic massage therapist. So that's a bit about me. I talked to Michael before, and I said I'm going to try to get you as soon as possible on the Zoom, because I think he's more interesting than I am. His story is more interesting. And by the way, congratulations, Michael, because Michael just had his second son of 12 days ago. Micah Jonas, was it?
Micah Jonas.
Micah Jonas. And his first son is 2 years and 2 months, I guess.
Mateo Alexander.
Yes. Well, there you go. So, guys, Michael Epstein, I don't know if you know him. I've met him at one of the events. He's with Team Heart, and I'm saying that because he is all heart, and that's also when I talk to him, that's what you feel. It's his heart that shines through. So he should actually be in Team Aloha, but that's okay.
I'm actually not on Team Heart either.
Oh, really? I thought you were in Team. Didn't you? Weren't you Carrie?
Yeah,
Carrie Dickey?
I'm on. I'll tell you. I'll tell you.
Okay,
but
great, good.
They're cousins, just like you guys are cousins to me.
Okay, great. So Michael Epstein. Michael Epstein, we just talked about it as well, and it's like amazing. He is a martial artist as long as I am alive. Like 54 years he has been in martial arts, and he has also been a massage therapist for 44 years. Am I correct, Michael?
Yeah, 45 and 55, but yeah.
Yeah, there you go. Um, he has also been very long in network marketing, and his passions are like his two children, his wife Paloma, and teaching and healing. And that's what I found very, very nice, because you are a fourth degree black belt Chinese kung fu, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. And you're teaching in that as well.
Yes.
Great, great. So this is Michael Epstein. Without further ado, Michael, please tell us your story.
Wow. Well, thank you so much for that beautiful introduction, Polly Grace. And, massage therapy is a great field. It's the only problem, it wears you down after a while. And, I'm very humbled for Daisy to ask me to be part of this. And I'm very humbled for you to be able to host this. And it's the beautiful thing about our company is like your team Aloha is not, I'm not part of that team, and I'm not even part of Team Heart, but I'm on one of Carrie Dickey's other legs, and we're just all LifeVantage family. So we all work together, when in traditional network marketing, if someone like Daisy would ask someone like myself, us both being pro eights in the company or at this level, people don't, they say, well, you know what, I'm sorry, I can't be part of your call. I can't give you the sauce of what we're doing. That's not what LifeVantage is about. LifeVantage is about, and you're absolutely right, Polly Grace. It's about the heart. It's about being truly an influencer. It's truly about creating relationships. It's truly about creating trust. So I'll give you a little background. I'm a fourth degree black belt master of Chinese Kung Fu, and I started in 1965. And I love the martial arts. It's something that is my passion. I'm also a musician. I'm not a professional musician, and that was my goal, was to be a professional musician. And what ended up happening is I got involved with martial arts and massage therapy, and it took me away from going down that avenue of being that professional musician. Who knows what would have ever happened, but I know one thing, that I've helped touch thousands and thousands of lives for what I do in the holistic health field. And I wouldn't trade that for the world. But today I get to go back and be the musician for myself. I may not be expressing music to the world, but there's a lot of incredible musicians out there doing that. And so I've been involved in network marketing since, believe it or not, the late 70s, early 80s, when I was very young, and my mother and father were part of Amway. Now, I've watched my parents struggle doing network marketing, because back in those days, when you wanted to get product, you went to your director's house, and their garage was like a factory full of products. And I remember going as a young child, like 12 years old, and us having to wait in line, because there was no such thing as computers back in those days. And the little pads where people would write, they did do their orders, and they would write out the orders individually. And there'd be like 30 people in line waiting at these people's houses. And that's the way it was done. There was no drop ship or anything like that. You got your big person, and you went and got the product. Well, times have changed. The way that we have social media, the way that we have the e-commerce, and the way that we can order product, and in a couple of days it's shipped to us, and we don't have to carry product. That's such a beautiful thing. So I've done massage therapy all my life, trading time for money. I've taught martial arts mostly all my life as well, trading time for money. If I have a body on my table, I'm getting paid. If I have a student in front of me, I'm getting paid. And if I don't have one of those things happening, I'm not getting paid. So I know a lot of you on this call can relate to that. A lot of people, especially here in California. Now, what's really a beautiful thing is I'm talking to people from all over the world. Some of the people I'm talking to, it's already tomorrow. And some people I'm talking to, it's several hours back. But we're all trading time for money. And here in California, in Southern California, to drive from Orange County, where I live, to drive to Los Angeles, you're talking about a 2-hour drive each way. 2-hour drive, get to work, sit in a cubicle, wait for your 10-minute break, and then wait for your 45-minute lunch, if that's what you get, and then wait for your 10-minute break again, and then wait until your day is over, and then get in your car and drive 2 hours back home. People do that day in and day out, Monday through Friday, and I honestly don't know how they do that. I just couldn't handle it. That's not my way of life. I've done things locally, but think about yourself if you, and I hope that you don't have to relate to that, but think about the people that you know that dislike their jobs. I mean, 85% of all people can't stand what they do. 85% in the United States anyways. And if they had something different to do, they would do it until they hear that little word of network marketing. But I'll get into that in a little bit. So anyways, that's what I've been doing. My wife and I, Paloma, we've been married for 19 years. And when we got married in the beginning, my wife wanted to have children. And to tell you the truth, as a massage therapist and a martial arts instructor, I was absolutely petrified to have children. Why? Because living here in Southern California on a massage therapy income and a martial arts income. Now, if you own like 15 massage therapy establishments or 15 or 20 martial arts establishments, then you can make money. But it takes a lot of money to get to that point. And I knew that I needed something different. I understood the industry of network marketing. Now, what is the hardest thing about network marketing? It's not the industry, because the industry is a $200 billion industry. And it's not the products, because a lot of incredible products come from it. But before I tell you about that, I want to show you 12 days ago, this little guy came into my life. I took this at 4 o'clock in the morning. And because of this industry, there's both my boys. Now, I'm 62 years old, and I'm showing you these not to impress you, but to impress upon, how about that? To impress upon what happens when you stay consistent. This can happen. And there's my wife and my son and I, and my other son. Is when you stay consistent and doing what most people aren't willing to do, you'll have what most people will never have. Now, it's not the network marketing industry that's the tough part. Now, I want you to really listen to this, because this will change the way that you talk to people. It's what people think they know about network marketing, not what they know. It's what they think they know about network marketing that makes the toughest thing, because in people's minds, because they are so jaded. Now, I don't know what it's like in other areas around the country, around the world, but here in the US, especially California, everybody's been hit up by every Tom, Dick, and Harry with the next network marketing company. And most network marketing companies, now the industry, remember again, it's a $200 billion industry. But most network marketing companies are in the industry in the business of selling and convincing. Why is this weight loss better than that weight loss, better than GNC's weight loss, better than Costco's weight loss, better than CVS Pharmacy's weight loss? And you can compare all the different products out there when it comes to skincare. And you talk about Lane Cone and Clinique and Amway's products and Mary Kay's products and Avon's products and Arbonne's products. And I'm mentioning names on purpose because we've all heard of these companies. Some of them are from the mall. Some of them are network marketing companies. Now, are their products good? Yes, some better than others. But you're in a selling and convincing why this is better and why that's better. Now think about this. What makes LifeVantage different? NRF2 activation. Because what we have is something that is scientifically proven that every single human being and animal absolutely needs. And again, with the science to prove it. So what we have in our back pocket, 26 published peer-reviewed studies, 13 patents, I believe 7 of them in the United States. So now let's go back to what people think they know. What they think they know, it's number one, and tell me if you've heard this one before, it's one of those things. It's one of those things where you have to sell products to your friends and family. It's one of those things that you have to be an expert on. It's one of those things that you have to be a salesman, a saleswoman. That's the misconception of what most people think. But what is it really? When you have 26 published peer-reviewed studies in your back pocket, and you have culture like what we have in LifeVantage. See, we don't have to convince. So I want everybody to do this a second. Now, all out there, I want you to go like this. Take your finger like this. I want you to take that finger like this. And I want you to take your finger like this and push down. That means that anybody can push play. Anybody can push play on YouTube, on a webinar, on a re-recording of a Zoom. And that's called duplication. See, we don't have to sell and convince people because we truly, truly have something that every single human being and animal absolutely needs. So what that gives us the ability to take a deep breath and exhale and know that we are sharing information of something that every single person needs in their body. And that is called peace of mind. We learn to become influencers in our company. We learn to become connectors in our company. We learn to connect and build trust and build relationships. And when you align all of these pieces together, you have a gold mine. Because now, I've been to a lot of events in many. Now, if you've seen me on stage, you know that this is my 16th network marketing company. Now, what if I would have said no after 15, said, no, I'm never doing it again? I keep my options open. It's important to, but I've failed my way to the successes of where I'm going. And right now I am just in the transition on my journey, like all of you. What's so important for you to be able to connect with your heart and then your head is knowing what your purpose is, knowing what your dream is, and having a burning desire to achieve it. Because it's so easy for people to get excited about it, even with LifeVantage. because people get jaded, people get stuck in their own way, and before you know it, they're not answering the phone. Has anybody, you ever call somebody and all of a sudden they're not answering their phones? Pro 8, let me tell you, it still happens to me quite often, but it's okay. So you're looking for people that want more. But if you know what your dream is, you have a burning desire to achieve that dream, and you look at your dream. Now, behind my back right here is my dream board. Now, my other dream board that I had from several years back, everything has come true on it. And it's up there on that wall over here, if you can see it. And if you saw it closely, you would see an older type looking computer, a bigger cell phone. And I just didn't let, it's like what you really have to do to be successful in this industry is you have to put horse blinders on. You can't allow the naysayers to tell you what you can't do, because they don't know what's in your head. They don't understand how NRF2 activation helps your body. They don't understand how NRF1 is repairing that dysfunctional mitochondria. And by the way, and I'm going to say that again, all disease stems from dysfunctional mitochondria. When you have something that can repair mitochondria, remove the rusting, and then the third aspect of what we have, which is, I don't even know how to put it as a grand slam, NAD. Now, I've been taking NAD for over a month. Well, I took it for prior to our last event that we had. And I will say that, and I'm very sensitive to my body, and I'm very aware of what's inside my body, because I'm one of these, all I'll say is I grew up in the 70s as a rock and roll guy. I'll just leave it at that. And I'm lucky to still be here, put it that way. However, I totally feel this in my body. And I've been studying for the past 6 months, when they were calling it Super 7. And I remember walking with Darren Jensen when we were in, I believe, Kansas City, from the Basketball Hall of Fame. He and I walked from the Hall of Fame, from the elite reception that we had, back to the hotel. And he couldn't tell me what it was, but he kind of hinted. But I still didn't understand what he was saying, but I kind of did, because I was studying and have been studying something called autophagy. And autophagy, you heard Dr. Brian Dixon talking about it, and some people call it autophagy. But the background a little bit more, and I don't want to get too deep into this, but I want you to understand something. There's a Japanese scientist, and I don't remember his name. I forget his name. I could look it up. My nephew actually sent it to me. And in 2016, he won a Nobel Prize for discovering autophagy, and some people call it autophagy. But what that really means is your body going in the state of caloric restriction. But it's even more than what they talk about, the 800 calories only a day. True caloric restriction is only drinking water. Only drinking mountain spring water. And here's what happens, so you understand. So if anybody asks you a question about that, you have a little bit, because that's how sirtuins come into place. Now understand, I'm not a scientist, okay? I have a science mind, a slight science background with nutrition, but I'm not a scientist. But what I've studied and what I've listened to of tens of hours, 20, 50 hours of studying this, and also practicing it. I've done 3 5-day complete fasts on only water. Now, a lot of people say, well, you can't do that. You're going to starve. No, here's what happens. And that is, from the first, when you fast, let's just talk about 5 days, because you can do up to 40 days like that, believe it or not. Now, with NAD, we don't have to do that. But within the first 24 to 48 hours, your body needs protein. Where do you think that protein comes from? The protein comes from your muscles. So that means when you're working out and stuff, you start losing muscle, a little bit of muscle. And what happens is as your muscle is used as protein, that's your fuel. So what happens between 48 and 72 hours, it starts creating a shift, and your gates, I'm losing my thought on the gate. I'll come up with the word in a second. But what happens is there's an enzyme that happens in your body where oh my gosh, I can't remember the name of it right now. But anyways, when you are like God, I can't remember the name of it. Anyways, what happens is, and I'll come up with the name of it in a moment, but these gates in your body shut down, and it stops your body from utilizing its own fat and muscle and starts utilizing the stored fat in your body. When you start using your stored fat, it's like a computer that has too many programs running. And what ends up happening is it looks for your weakest stored fat and utilizes that as protein. And then it starts eliminating those stored fat. And that's how sirtuin is activated. So what ends up happening is when you're taking NAD, it bypasses that process and goes straight to utilizing that stored fat, and it's utilizing and creating this protein and creating that molecule of NAD and creating that NAD pathway. That's why your body becomes healthier. When you shut your computer after all these programs running, then your body absolutely has the ability to reprogram itself, just like reprogramming your computer when you turn it off and turn it back on. That's what your body gives your body with utilizing that stored fat. I don't want to get into the details of that so much.
Sorry, Michael, to interrupt you, because
insulin. That's what I was thinking. Your insulin levels.
Thank you. And by the way, it's Yoshinori Oshumi. That's yes, I just looked it up because I am into autophagy. But why I interrupted you, because the meeting usually goes to at 30, but we also wanted to open up. I don't know if you're okay with running over it.
I am. Everybody's fine. I'm fine as well.
And if you're open for questions. So
absolutely. I am. So well, let me wrap up with what I want to say. And that is, know your dream, have a purpose, understand the industry of network marketing is real. Understand that most people do not know about the industry. It's only what they think they know about this industry. So when you're talking to people, create conversation, ask people questions, find out what the pain is in their body and in their heart and in their wallet, and say, you know what? I have some information that may or may not be for you, but it's important for me because I care about you to share this information. Whatever you do with it is up to you. Is that fair? And I call it information. I don't call it a product, and I don't call it a business. I call it information, because you want people to lean forward towards you, not away from you. Does that make sense?
Right.
So with that, I know I could talk for hours. I get very passionate about what I'm doing and what we're doing and the position and timing where we are in this industry.
I know the feeling. I can get very passionate. And I just want to share something about this network marketing and what people think about it. I was sitting with a colleague, and I was sharing information, and he's like, is that one of those things? And I'm like, yeah. but not like that. So for me, it was like, yeah, that's maybe what you think, but let me tell you otherwise.
Right.
So having said that, anybody have a question for Michael? I know there are a lot of people who have
We
so
got to
many
make sure
I
they
questions.
have a
unmute.
question.
Yes, my dear.
My question. Hi, I'm on Maui, so it's
Oh,
nice.
rub it
We're one
in.
of the ones behind you in time, not like Polly Grace, who's way ahead. Um, but what I wanted to ask you was, when you get that response from people, from the people who think they know what network marketing is, how do you respond? What's your response for that? Because I find that can throw me off a little bit.
That's a great
And I'm sure
question.
there's a lot of people that can relate to that.
Right. And the key is asking people questions. So when someone says to me, "Oh, is it one of those things?" I ask them, "What are you talking about? One of those things? You know, one of those pyramid things?" And my immediate response is, I said, "So are you talking about Ford Motor Corporation?" And then people go, "What?" I go, "Well, let me ask you a question." And I like saying this phrase, "Let me ask you a question." You want to write that down if you're not driving, Tracy. But let me ask you a question. So do you think that Bill Ford, who's the president and CEO of Ford Motor Corporation, do you think that the janitors can make as much money as him? No. How about, I know someone who's that used to be number 4 from the top. It was this person, I won't mention his name. And then above him was a guy from Korea. And then above him was a guy from India. And above him was Bill Ford. The person that I knew that was number 4 in that chain of command, if you will, there's no way that he will ever make as much money as Bill Ford. The custodians, no matter how hard they work, they will never make as much money as the person I knew at number 4, let alone number 1. So there is the pyramid. So network marketing, take the pyramid and flip it around. Kind of looks like a heart a little bit, but if you flip it around, when you come into this business, you are at the top of your chain. So I ask people questions, and that's one of the things I ask them. So what you mean is that? And then if another question that someone will say, so you have to be I'm not a salesperson. So I ask people a question. So let me ask you a question. What's your favorite restaurant? And they say, well, I love going to Outback Steakhouse, let's say, for example. Fantastic. Have you ever brought anybody to Outback Steakhouse? And they go, well, of course I have. I had my party there. I had this and that. Do you think out of all the people that you ever brought there, do you think that they've ever told anybody about it? And they'd say, well, probably. Say, well, you're doing network marketing right there, but you're not getting paid for it. I said, all we're doing is sharing information. And we're letting people and we're giving them information step by step. We're feeding into people to make them lean forward. So, and I tell people, well, in my organization, I have at least 20 people on my team that make far more money than I do. So that throws that pyramid thing out of the water. Does that make sense? I hope that answers your question. So, any other questions?
Tracy, did that answer your question? I couldn't see you, but any other questions like Michael asked? Somebody is, okay, that's Rusty. Thank you, Rusty, for sharing everything, writing everything down for us.
I love that.
So what, let me ask one question, and it could be for you or for Daisy, but we have you as a guest. Even as a Pro 8, what are these things you still come up with, like when you started as a Pro 1, that you can share with us So that people still do, instead of just saying, is that one of these things? But what is your thing you can work on? Like for me, it's following up. I can talk to everybody, and for me it's following up, just being consistent with following up. And I know you're very perseverance. You are, you are diligent, and especially being a martial artist. But what are the things you have to can say about yourself, that's my thing I have to work on?
Thank you. Number one, follow-up is vital. I have been following up with some people for 7, 8, and 9 years now. They're still not in. They've watched my life change. I have a gentleman that was at my house today. His name is Jerry, and he joined in 2011. Never did anything. Took the product for a couple of years, stopped taking the product. Skeptical mind, but that's okay, because about a month and a half ago, he called me up, believe it or not, to tell me about another company. And I said to him, Jerry, you've got to be kidding me. You need to get in with what I'm doing. And I said, come over to my house right now. We're going to talk. So it was something to do with credit cards and stuff like that. Well, guess what? About 4 days later, he signed up on a platinum pack. And he came to Long Beach. Now, again, Long Beach is right down the road. But I want you to understand something. 2% of the people will come in on the first time you talk to them. Let's talk about 100 people. 2%, 2 people out of 100. 3% on the second touch to them, if you will. And what is a touch? Showing them the ABC investigative report. The second time, doing a 3-way call. The third time you talk to them, 4% will say yes. And that could be, again, a Zoom or a Super Saturday. On the fourth touch to them, 10% will say yes. That's contacting somebody 4 different times. And 80% will sign up after the 5th call. Now, is that something that's highly consistent? Of course not. Again, I have been talking to people, and I'm good at what I do, but still, people have seen my life, but people get in their own way. People don't think they can do it. Why? Because they don't understand their own purpose, and they don't have a dream, and they don't have a burning desire to achieve it, because those are the ones that are stuck on the freeway that want something different but are afraid to get out of their own way to make a difference. So when you build that relationship with someone and connect with them, then people start opening their eyes a little bit more. I hope that makes sense, because follow-up, and you're absolutely right, Polly Grace, follow-up is vital. Third-party validation is vital. I always use third-party validation. Now, I can only go up to Sharice, Carrie Dickey, and Stu Brody, Sharice Matthews. And then there it is. That's my upline. So I use cross-line, I use downline, I use sideline, and I call it all my cousins. Anybody I can, because we all are a family with LifeVantage. So
thank you. Thank you.
If you're out there and you're thinking, well, I want to ask a question, but it might sound stupid, please understand that there is no such thing as a stupid question. What's important is that you become comfortable with being uncomfortable. And if you could become comfortable with being uncomfortable, that's where you can get out of your own way more. Because that one question that you may want to ask, somebody else is afraid to ask it too. So please, if you've got a question, please ask me. So there you go.
Thank you for sharing that. And Daisy is unmuted. So
Michael, you're so awesome. I love this call. It's so good. Hi, baby. Hey, listen, I just want to share another follow-up thing, because that's the hardest part of this business, I feel like, is the follow-up, honestly. You always feel like a weird network marketer. Keep calling, you're that person. But I've been following up with someone. It's been almost 7 years now. She was someone that I called right in the beginning. And let me tell you something, you don't give up on the ones that this can not only change their life, but that can do a really good job. And this girl is someone that I used to model with in Roxy, and I just know her heart. And I've been following up and following up. I mean, I'm not kidding you. She had calls with our upline that's not even now in the company. I mean, she's done stuff since the beginning and not even tried the product. And I finally told her in Long Beach, I said, you let me know when you're sick of trading time for dollars. She's had a baby and she said, gosh, I'm so sick of this. I could cry right now. And I said, okay, well, let me know. We went back and forth a little bit. She's on the products. Hallelujah. That's the best part. And she said she's saving up in the next 2 weeks. She's going to do this. So moral of the story is don't give up on the people that not only this could help big time, but they have some kind of influence, because that's what I'm realizing more and more is one person leads to 1,000, who can lead to, like you saw Michelle Poe, and when they had everyone basically with their phones at that convention,
right,
and show that they have been affected by them. And that's you. That's every single one of you on this call. The ones that are being consistent, the ones that aren't giving up, the influencers, and that's you guys. So I just wanted to share that, because it's so nice when someone finally says, yes, I'll try the product. Because that's like, once they try the product, to me, it's like, it's over. It's a good over, but it's that kind of thing. So that's all I wanted to share. And thank you, Michael. I know that you have baby and a toddler, and it means the world to us that you took a sec to jump on with us. So that's it. I just want to say thanks.
Absolutely. No, it's a blessing to me. I talked to somebody on the phone today, Daisy, that told me about somebody that sat in the back of the room when they really didn't want to do this business. And then after this conversation, that person was almost kind of forced to go to it, and really pulling teeth to get them to go to this business, this meeting, Daisy. And then all of a sudden they were sitting in the middle of the room. And by the end of the meeting, they were sitting in the front of the room, and they said, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to be on the stage just like you, Sonny Belanger.
I was like, that actually sounds really familiar. Like, I think I might know that person. Yes, that was me. I mean, I was like embarrassed to show up at the meeting. I remember it was like premiere school back then. And by the end of it, I was on the edge of my chair texting people, this is real. We're going to do this. And that's the rest is history. And, we're all here because we're all taking steps towards wanting our dreams and our goal. And I love your heart, and I love your discipline that you teach. It's everything with this, as you know. So again, thanks so much. I appreciate it. Appreciate you.
Absolutely. And see, if you're a person of your word and you do what you're going to say you're going to do. And Sonny talked to me. He says, for $1, if I'd be rich, if I had $1 for every person that said, yes, I'm going to do that, I'm going to be on stage, but she meant it. And look what she has created. To be a surfer like she's done, a musician, done a movie. I have so much respect for you, Daisy, and I really mean that. And, and we're all on the same journey together. What do we want? We want choices. The only way we can have choices in this company is by helping other people get choices. And in doing so, that's how we get choices. I'll say this, and because I know you need to end this, but people used to laugh at me. I've been called the snake oil salesman, the pyramid guy. Michael, what's wrong with you? Get a real job. You're wasting your life away with this stuff. And today they call me lucky. But I get to stay home and raise my sons. I get to say sons now, plural. I get to take it to gymnastics and music and singing and swimming. I get to do that, and I get to be with them and watch them life. And if people really understood that there was a vehicle that can give them those choices by helping other people get their choices, because this is not, you have to work towards this, and you have to help other people to get what you want. You can't just be selfish and do this business. And I promise you, it will never, ever work for you if you come into this business and do it selfishly. So, and thank you for your beautiful words, Daisy.